I'm joined by Ray Harmer MHK for Peel and Glenfaba, and obviously also with your ministerial hat on, we're looking back at your year. And we talked about a lot of things last year that were going to be happening, which now should have happened, but not everything has really hit its mark. Although we could sit here for probably the full length of the interview and just talk about the promenade.
Well,
but you know,
there's actually a huge amount that has happened this year. I mean, it's quite striking when I've looked back and and actually seen that all the different things. For example, probably quite a very huge thing was the sea services agreement, which was, you know, that's been talked about for many years, and now we actually have a 25, you know, till 2043 the agreement with the steam packet, and that's absolutely huge, because that means new vessels that's going to come in towards the end of 2021. We've got you know, replacing Ben McCree. We're going to have a backup craft. We're going to have more discounted fares, double amount discounted fares.
So that's good. Yeah.
So the shoulder fare in the autumn's coming down by, you know, about £50. So that's the stability. That agreement is quite huge. So that in itself is quite a momentous piece of
yeah. But you still got things like building things we didn't see happen. Again, was the Summerland site. You talked about that last year. That should have now been processed.
And the unfortunate thing that some of the people that would have wanted to get to deal with that are probably not in the right place at this time. So that is one of the areas we'll look at definitely. But I suppose on the plus side, we've got Lord Street coming on. You know, hopefully next year. You know, obviously we'll talk about the prom. But I think one of the issues that we've got to be very careful about is there's so much change that we've been putting through that we've got to make sure we manage that change and not have too much expectation. So, for example, well, I think we've got to just say, you know, this is about right. You know, let's not overstretch ourselves, because in the sense of, you know, this Castle Street that was done. You know, we haven't even sort of, you know, that barely gets a mention. Market Hill is now on its way. That whole connectivity between the prom and the harbour is going to be is absolutely fantastic.
I might want to do another thing with you. Well, we hopefully do a monthly thing, but let's just do an overview of that prom. You know, between last year and now, it started. We're underway.
Yes.
But clearly, it wasn't this big success that you had when you just tarmac the prom in the first place, when you were getting, you know, accolades galore that you got on with it. It's been much more tricky, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely, because this thing is about the future. So it's not about it's about putting the infrastructure for the next 90 to 100 years, and it's absolutely massive. And currently at the moment it's a service engineering job, the piping, the connectivity. In the past, we've just sort of thrown things in. We've thrown in the tarmac over, throw things again. Yes. And, you know, there aren't, at the moment, enough, for example, fire hydrants on the prom. We've got connectivity issues with power and gas and things like that. And it's and there are no plans, because this is 90 years of sort of.
But you're it was 9 weeks behind, and that was about a month or two ago that was announced. Falling further behind?
Well, I think the thing is, you know, at the moment that's where we are at the moment. There may be other delays as they come in, but I think we've been incredibly ambitious, and when we said, you know, we talk about it being a 5-year, 8-year, 9-year project. We took the bold step of saying let's to do it in 2 years. The contractor went for the two years, and I think we have to be realistic that it was a bold step. The other alternative was close the prom down completely, which would have been completely unacceptable. So we are managing within those sort of very high expectations.
How do you think you fared when you're in front of Rob Collister and Claire Betson and co, you know, when you were brought there to explain yourselves? And, well, it wasn't brilliant, was it? You couldn't really give it enough gravitas people didn't know which section was shut and which was still open, and you know, you were listening to a lot of stuff, and you all looked a bit like you were caught in headlights almost.
Well, I think when there's certain issues that need to be fixed, and they've been fixed. So you know, when there's been a delay or there's services that need to be, and that's meant that we haven't, let's say, gone as far as we want to the to the Palace Hotel, then obviously we've got to adjust the plans. Now, that's something where I do think that, as I said before, communicating those plans to businesses much better is really important. But I think what we've got to remember is this is a highly complicated engineering task, and you know, it is being achieved, and there's problems. And I think if you took it one moment and said, you know, purely as an engineering piece of work, it is going reasonably well. Obviously there's delays, some things have been changes that have been made by others that we've had to sort of accommodate. So and some things, you know, where we've seen service. And what's fascinating is when you go down into the prom, you see, for example, sort of almost like little brick buildings. And in the past, where it's just been tarmacked over, obviously each time, you know, that's sunk a bit. So this is a project that absolutely needs to be done, and it couldn't be totally
And we will
scoped.
cover this much more, so we'll be hopefully getting down to see this very thing you're talking about. But let's talk about other things that maybe that you were talking about last year, hope to be successful. The airport. And I think we're getting the new equipment in, the security equipment last year. But, I mean, even today, well, today recording this, a well-known travel agent has put something on his Facebook page saying it's just the worst airport in the world, or I think it was the sort of thing he was saying about just nothing quite works right. Do you accept that?
No, I completely do not accept that. I've not heard that. Okay. But the airport is absolutely running perfectly. As you know, when you go through security now, the challenge was very much...
Are they running to them most of the time in peak times? You know, when they've got the two lanes? Are they running?
They're running, and we've got some... The times are going, you know, most people get through in minutes. Okay. I think we have very high expectations if you compared with other airports, but I would actually say, yes, it took longer, because I think last year I said it's taking longer than I'd hoped, but actually... It's been a really good success, and there's been massive changes in the airport. Probably not everybody will be aware of.
Well, this is a saved thing, isn't it? It's one of the few saved things that has come about. You saved a lot of money places down there. The baggage handles 1 minute.
Yes.
Then the security are all changing over from being you know, well paid-ish, and I think that someone said to me that one was saying to me that she would have to take a pay cut, you know, quite a big hefty pay cut if she stayed with it, but it's, you're putting out to
and that's all been managed really well, and that's just happened, and it has barely sort of gone unnoticed. And I think this is what I was saying before, we're making big changes and have made big changes. You know, the baggage handlers was over $1 million in savings. Now, it's my view that the next step is to give it that commercial freedom. So actually,
will that happen next year?
And that's the plan.
Okay, so many things. But what about the deep water berth? You were very confident about that last time we talked.
So. Yes, but just to go a bit back on the airport, there was like instrument landing stage. There's all those other things. There's lots of other projects that are on the way.
The radar working?
And the radar is the new radar.
No, it was before your time.
No, but the new radar's in and the old one's switched off.
Oh,
fine. And again, these things are happening all the time.
Maybe should do more PR about it then.
Yeah, well, I know. I think it is a case of there's lots of things that are happening. But I suppose we just main focus is to get them done.
Deep water berth, then let's move that.
Yeah, so well, that is still something that we're doing those surveys. We're still something that we're pursuing, and you know, my view that is something that I still want to progress.
By year 4.
I think it will take. It will take longer. It will take longer than that. I mean,
more than full term.
Probably more than full term. As you know, we've also got the expressions of interest for the Marinas, so that's come out this last month. So that's another
reading.
That's got some nice there's a number of from what I've been told, there's a number of different possibilities, but again, that's another massive piece of work that's happening as well. So it's really, and I think we've got to be careful that we don't sort of, as I said, have over expectations. My vision really was that I thought, very much Douglas, particularly our capital, can be totally sort of regenerated. With Lord Street, with the prom, eventually some sort of facility for cruisers, and also in terms of the Summerland site, that is still something very much on the list.
Will Summerland be done next year?
No, I think that's going to take. That's
you were so confident last year that
something there, but obviously these things happen.
Don't say Brexit. Don't give you that.
No, I'm not. No,
okay.
Absolutely not. I think that's it is one of those things that has to be about timing, and maybe we need to be looking at a development agency for that piece of work.
And back to the airport quickly. You're going to have it more controlled. I mean, you're going to separate it slightly away and make it work and make money, or at least.
I think what you've got to
so much.
Well, you've got to remember the airport, because of the airport duty of that we all pay, but remember, if we don't use the airport, there isn't that duty that when people visit and so forth.
Cash cow.
It actually, for the government, makes money, and we've got to make so this talk of of it not making money is absolutely not true.
It costs $3 million something a year.
That's right, but the airport duty that we get is $5 million.
$5 million.
So where I'm coming from is that we've got to grow the airport. It is, in terms of the British Isles, it's one of the smaller airports. A critical factor is that when we reach that million passengers, we had more passengers last year than ever before. So the airport is performing well. That doesn't mean to say that we can't do new things. For example, more commercial spaces. Can we in terms of the hangars, in
terms of. What do you think of blanking off the arrivals hall?
Well, that's really following what we had to do.
Here we go. You had to do it.
You had to do.
Really?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
You had to follow them.
We have.
What is the problem looking into that? Is there some massive security issue that if we see our loved ones arriving, we're going to do something?
If somebody's tipped off and so forth.
Oh, okay.
So
disappointing though, isn't it?
I completely agree with you in that sense. It's something that you wouldn't want to do. But if you look at some of the other things to do with like drop-offs and things like that, where we have been able to retain certain things, but those things do come to an end eventually. We do go through security audits, and we have to do the right thing.